this, I'm joined by a very special guest on the broadcast, Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad. Sir, thank you so much for making time and speaking to Mirror Now. Sir, a lot has been said about wars and heroes and fallen soldiers. And it's often said that wounds of war heal, but the memories don't. What do you have to say as we observe the 23rd Vijay Diwas today?
Memories of the Kargil War can never be forgotten, and particularly by me, because at that point in time I was serving as the Director General of Infantry at the Army Headquarters and watching and progressing this war minute to minute as it was proceeding. I start the program today by paying my homage and tribute to a large number of our officers, soldiers who sacrificed their life for the safety of the nation. 527 soldiers got martyred during this war. It even chokes us today. Over 1,300 soldiers got wounded. The large number of people who died, who gave their lives for the country, for its izzat, of those who were very young people, and of course, the leaders who led them into this great successful war. We must pay also we must salute actually the General Officer commanding of the division at that time, 8th Mountain Division, at that time Major General Mohinder Puri, and later, of course, Lieutenant General Mohinder Puri, who led his division to regain the lost ground we had to the Pakistani invaders at that point in time. So yes, it is very much in our mind. Every moment I can recall of what happened during this 2.5, 3 months that the war was going on.
Sir, could you share some experiences with us? I know it is for anyone who's not on the battlefield, it's absolutely impossible to imagine what happens on the battlefield, how brothers die in arms, how difficult choices are made emotionally, physically. It is a very difficult place to be in. But if you could share some experiences or some memories for our viewers, for our audiences, so that we can be more proud and respect the sacrifice of the soldiers.
Well, I think I am singularly very lucky to be able to comment on the question that you asked. If you would recall, and perhaps you were not born at that point in time, in 1971 as well, we had to fight a war in Kargil sector against the Pakistanis. At that point in time, we were going into an offensive to remove from hilltops those positions that were dominating the Kargil area and the national highway. And a particular post called Hathimata, which had to be attacked. I am singularly lucky and proud to be associated with this attack as a young major. That was the month of December, first week of December. This particular war was fought, the Kargil War in 1999, was fought in the month of May, June and July, when the temperatures were minus 12 degrees to minus 15, 20 degrees. But what we had to go through in 1977 was in the month of December, when temperatures went down to something like minus 30 degrees. And all these attacks, as you have seen in Kargil War of 1999, as well as that of the 1971, had to be fought at night where it was freezing cold. The Indian troops, even at that point in time in 1971, as well as in 1999, were not fully equipped with winter clothing. The weaponry was still primitive in 1971. The information available was absolutely meager, which was so even in 1999. Therefore, I can really associate myself with the 1999 Kargil War as I had been through the 1971 war in exactly the same area. It's the most difficult thing to happen when you see soldiers, officers, JCOs sacrificing their lives, attacking various features, and just passing away wounded or just sacrificing their life. It's a very touching moment. Yet, the Indian Army continues to fulfill its objectives, and that is exactly what I saw in 1971 when we captured the Hathimata. The battalion that I was serving in at that time was 5th Hit Gurkha Rifles, and we captured this position after making great sacrifices by the men of the unit. Similarly, in 1999, a large number of young officers, JCOs and other ranks went against all odds to climb features like Tiger Hill, Tololing 5140 in extreme low temperatures without adequate winter clothing, without the kind of weaponry that we needed at that point in time to fight such kind of operations, and various other shortfalls that were at that time without having been fully acclimatized, converting themselves suddenly from internal security duties like the combating terrorism and going into conventional mountain warfare. I can fully empathize, fully understand, fully appreciate the kind of feelings that men have when they go into a war like this.
All right, sir, one last question is that every time we talk about the Kargil War, the conversation about whether we have learnt our lessons well keeps on resurfacing. Do you think that India has learned its lessons and the structural changes that are always being talked about with respect to our defense and our apparatus? Do you think we have made the necessary changes, and do you think we've learnt our lessons well?
Came out, and as you would perhaps recall, there was a Kargil Review Committee meeting headed by
Yes.
Mr. Subramaniam, and a number of recommendations were made by them. Some of them included the intelligence aspect, some of them included the jointmanship of the three services of the armed forces, and of course the need for modernizing weapons. Particularly as far as the weapon systems go, we were deficient of such like weapons as rocket launchers, which could fire from one particular hill to another to destroy bunkers. We have, to a great extent, fulfilled this requirement, and now we have adequate weaponry to deal with it. We also modernized in terms of drones. Now, those days, if you recall, we were having very difficult time in finding exact information about where the enemy was deployed. And now today, even infantry battalions have drones available to them with which they can get the enemy information. So we have made quantum jumps in as far as the weapon systems are concerned, as far as the winter clothing are concerned, as far as the radio equipments are concerned, surveillance equipments are concerned. But there is still a lot of things to be done. Of course, we had a chief of defense staff that unfortunately got killed in a helicopter accident. But now we hope to have a chief of defense staff soon, so that jointmanship can come back as one of the major lessons learned. There is also a lot of talk about theater command. I'm not too sure how far we have gone into it, but that's one more requirement. The real truth is that this is an ongoing requirement. The weapon systems keep getting modern and modern, and they keep getting something antidotes to defeat them. Therefore, it's a continuous process. Modernization of the armed forces is a very continuous process, and we mustn't neglect it. Just because we've got A, B, C, D equipments right now, it doesn't mean we've got all what we require. We are currently facing a similar situation in Ladakh, in eastern Ladakh against the Chinese. And I'm sure we are better equipped now, but more needs to be done. And I think the army officers, the senior army officers who are in charge now, and the government are seriously seized with these problems, and will continue to modernize, continue to provide continue to provide better leadership, so that we can once again, if ever a war is thrust on us, we can definitely come as victorious as we have done in the past, both in 1971 war as well as the 1999 Kargil conflict.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for making time and speaking to Mirror Now. And we really appreciate you being with us on the broadcast.